Well, welcome back to the Awakening Potential Show, where we dive into stories, tools, and strategies to unlock your extraordinary self. I'm your host, Karen Rudolf, and I'm here to support you in boldly going into your sassy confidence, your classy wisdom, and your badassy boldness. Um, Today's show, we're going to create ripples of transformation in your life, in your work, and in the world. And today, I'm thrilled to introduce someone who embodies the journey in their own unique way. Our guest, Johanne Morris Benichou, who is a transformational leadership coach, consultant, speaker with a current focus on women leadership in business. And she's the founder of, uh,
Tirtha.
thank you.
Yes,
We're going to talk about that in a minute
yes,
for sure. But
yes.
let me try to attempt this again. Tirtha.
Tirtha. It's a T, yeah.
Tirtha, excuse me,
Yeah.
is a sanctuary for women transforming leadership and a new approach to women in business. I can't wait to dive into that. And as I said, we'll do that in a moment. And as we dive into this conversation, I know it will leave the listening audience inspired and ready to take bold action in your own lives. So I suggest you grab a notebook and a pen, open your heart, and awaken the extraordinary together. So a warm welcome to Johanne Morris Benichou.
It took me years to be able to say my last name. My husband is French. I am British, Karen. So
Yes.
it's Joe. I love the way you're using my full name, or you can call me Joe or Joanne.
Okay.
Morris Benichou is the French way. So that's the French way of saying it.
I like it. It has that sexy ring to
It took
it.
me 10 years to get down. So you're doing great.
Well, you look awesome together. So, however you.
Oh, thank you.
So, I'm curious if I may call you Joe
Yes.
yeah, for this. Okay, I just want to um, uh, acknowledge that. And any
Oh,
anyway, we have an AI guest.
you can boot her out if you want to.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
Any rate, thank you. Thank you for being here, seriously. And I know you and I met for the first time not too long ago, and I was so enamored. I felt so akin to you. But I'm curious, what began your journey like years ago? One of the things that I find in my journey is people are living their passion coming from their childhood. Like there was something you played with or something you did. Is that something true for you or
Well, if I go way back, way back, way back, and then I got lost for a very long time.
I did? Mhm.
But growing up very young, I remember very vividly that I would ask my parents why people were homeless
Mm,
and why we were ignoring them.
mm,
And I just couldn't fathom as a child that we weren't taking care of that human being on the
yeah.
side of the street. And I couldn't wrap my head around the how the adults would just ignore this human being. It was a real kind of moment for me of what's going on here. And I never forgot that connection to people who really needed support and help. So that was
Mm,
when I was very young. And then I had a wild youth and an even wilder 20s. And then what kind of put me back on track, even though I wasn't off track, it's all part of the track. I think we can say that now, is I met a young man in a bar and he was really cute. And he said, "Have you heard of the Landmark Forum?" Which is a course that you and I both know very well.
yes.
And I said no. And he walked away. And that was my introduction to the Landmark Forum. And something told me when I got home that night to my apartment in London, and I'm 28 at the time, to look this course online. And I
Mm,
registered me and my boss, and I started a transformational journey, all from that one 2-minute interaction.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, yeah. I remember mine was very similar. It was like somebody said something to me, and I'm like, I want some of that. What is that stuff? You're like really happy. And I was going through such a victimhood stage in my life. And at the same thing, I went home and I looked it up and I was like, whoa. And I was so resistant at the beginning, but I'm so grateful I did that journey for sure.
Well, it's funny because I went there because like, oh, this must be where all the cute guys go. And years later, that's where I met my husband.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there we go, fulfilled an intention for sure.
Absolutely. But not only did you take the course, but you became a landmark forum leader.
I
And
did.
that's no easy task to do for sure. So, what was that trajectory like?
It was one of the most challenging things I've ever done with my life.
I bet.
And talk about answer the call. You know, we talk in the spiritual realm, answering the call, answering something that's bigger than you, that's not about you.
Right.
And that was an answer to the beginning of my real calling. And being a landmark forum leader is very much part of that journey to then and now. And the challenge was not so much in the leading. The challenge I now know was I was so disconnected to myself as a woman
Mm.
that I missed that I was full-blown menopause.
Mm.
Which is, how do you miss that you're full-blown menopause?
Right.
And the work I started to do with my coach was to really disappear the aggressive symptoms of menopause, which I did.
Right.
But that started to point me into a direction that I had no real relationship with myself, the internal self, the physical self, the energy self. So I'm so excited to be on Awakening Potential because I think that was my awakening within me being a high performance transformational coach that was leading courses around the world. That was the beginning of the internal awakening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It brings me back to that thought of Shakespeare in play Hamlet, and I believe it was 1533, where Hamlet states, to thine own self be true. And
Mm.
that has been ringing in my ears for years. And this is to me what Awakening Potential is about. It's about my journey through many courses I've taken, Landmark being one of them. I did not go on to the leadership realm. I knew it really stretches yourself to really look at yourself and be true to yourself and
Well,
awaken.
I'll just give you an idea so other people can get what Karen's pointing to. So there's an elite team of coaches that have led courses, the Landmark Forum, which is the core course, to over 3 million people. And it's so intense, the training to even just get through the interview process. I think took me 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
And then to get trained and then get trusted and then to lead. And to give you an idea, because there's coaches galore, I was one of 35 people in the last 20 years to do it.
Oh, that's amazing. Talk about stick-to-itiveness and intention, sticking to intention. I love it. As I was sharing, I create my intention every day. It hasn't been
Yes,
begged. But no,
yes,
I'm going to start looking at that newly for sure. But
yeah.
yeah, I really admire who you are and who you've become on the journey. Of course, I'm seeing you newly at this end of it. Yeah, and it's just an amazing space to be in your presence. So I'm very grateful for that. And obviously, it's led you to where you are today, is that new expression of being a woman. How is that being birthed? And tell us a little about your company if you would. All of the contact information for Joe is going to be in the show notes for those who want to get in touch with her or find out more. All her contact information will be there for our listening audience. But in the
Yeah,
meantime,
so
give
yeah,
us a
thank you. So this is, I'm still in the discovery of who I'm becoming.
Mhm.
And I think that's going to be lifelong, isn't it?
Absolutely. I'm still peeling back onions. Yes.
So what I noticed going back, what I notice now is I had no relationship to my soul. I couldn't even hear my intuition. There was no space for me to connect. So when I completed as a landmark form leader 4 years ago, completed with honor, and blessed and privileged to have that life and continue to be a space of creation for all people.
Mm-hmm.
And moving forward, when I came here to Sarasota, we both live in Sarasota. I was so burnt out, and not burnt out like burnt out, oh, I just got to hit the gym and take some vitamins, burnout.
Right.
Energetically so exhausted that even a jump start couldn't jumpstart me anymore. And it was the first time I stopped working since I was 17. This is 4 years ago. This is now 46. And not only did I not have the energy to work, I wasn't inspired by myself. I wasn't inspired about my future. After leading courses to that degree, I'm like, now what am I doing? So with the lack of energy, with no vision for my future, with no sense of who I am, and no sense of what I wanted to create, I went through one of the most hardest years of my life, where the experience I felt, which I'm sure if you're on a spiritual journey or if you're a woman in business and you like, what the hell am I doing? What is this it? That year was like a year of death for me. And luckily, I've been so used to having incredible people around me and amazing coaches around me. I'm like, all right, I've got to build a team here to get me back into a sense of me just creating something here. So I found a brain doctor. I found a soul healer. I found a energy healer. I found a transformational coach. I found a fitness coach. And then I started creating community events to get me back into community with people. And over the last 4 years, I restored myself into this whole, because I was never whole before. Whole, new way to be as a woman who, and how am I going to put this? I'm so trained to work with people in transformation, in realizing results, but I wasn't trained in how to lead from my heart and being intuitively guided and trust myself in such a way that confidence is just a label. There's no such thing as confidence. When you're truly connected to who you are in a bigger sense of yourself,
Exactly.
it's a different sense of power. And I never had access to my own power that way. And everything else was on top of something as a woman trying to survive in life and business without any profound connection to who I was as a woman. So now, in the last year and now in the last 4 years, I've had these events, and I wouldn't call myself, I don't have an event company, but I went on Eventbrite to have a look at how many events I've done in the last 4 years. And apparently, according to Eventbrite, I've done 43 events.
Go you, wow.
But you know what I mean? It's because I just kept creating, and I just wanted to be with people, and I find myself with people, and I wanted to discover what there was to discover, and I wanted to see what there was to create, and just keep stepping forth and just keep stepping forth and keep being a leader myself first most, and then showing the way for others that they can lead themselves too.
Exactly.
And this whole new way to be as a woman is a woman who has the profound connection to her spirit, her heart, and her soul. Absolutely. And has power in this reality. So when you get the combination of the internal with the external, a lot of people good at the internal woo-woo. They can travel to galaxies and back. Exactly. I'm not a galaxy girl yet, But, and some people are really good at just making things happen, but
Yeah,
they don't trust life and they don't trust source and they don't trust themselves. But when you get all that coming together in a way, that's the wholeness. And if I
absolutely.
can speak to you in enlightenment talk, it's what I say is a modern day mystic.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah. Awakening potential within, right? Because it starts from
Yeah.
within too. Absolutely. I love that. So aligned.
Yeah.
So
And
talk
so
about
that makes sense. And, you know, and just to your point, what I am doing and what I really deeply care about is it's easy to have this kind of conversation in inner circles of spiritual women, of woo-woo women, of the sound bath healing, crystals and feathers and everything. You know, we get this conversation.
Mhm.
But to take this conversation to a woman who's in a corporate building, she has four walls, she's sitting there on a computer, she's surrounded by men, she wakes up, goes to work, come home, wakes up, goes to work, come home.
Right.
How am I going to reach her as a woman and rebirth her? That's the vision.
Absolutely. I'm so on the same path for sure.
Yeah, well, tell me about what you're up to.
Well, similarly, it's about awakening potential within. I am an intuitive, but again, it took years. It was there, but let me reframe it. It was there within. I just needed to wake it up. I didn't know it was there. I actually thought there was something wrong with me, Joe, because my former husband used to sit there and say to me, "You're freaking me out," because I would say things that he just wasn't related to at all. And then because I was the people pleaser and the doormat back when, I would shut my mouth. And for years, I shut my mouth, and it was like I wanted it. There was something missing, and I was looking for that missing part within me. And it wasn't until after my divorce that I was able to start opening it up and revisiting it and reacquainting myself with it. And I thought it was broken. I really
Yeah,
thought there was something wrong with me. And yeah, so it's really my journey has taken to awakening potential was a download for me.
yeah,
And I was guided to do this, and I love doing this. I have amazing conversations because I love having those conversations, excuse me, that not only connect people, but they see themselves in. Perhaps they're that lost soul looking to find themselves again, or they don't know where to look, and that kind of thing. That excites me. And it's taking me on this journey. In the beginning was the word. I'm very spiritual. I'm not
yeah,
religious, I'm spiritual. I've studied, when I was looking for something outside of myself, I started looking at world religions and studying religions after I studied quantum physics and neuroscience. And I'm going, what the heck am I doing here? But I didn't realize how everything, as you said, is together. So in my copy, in all of my copy, you'll see a W in quotes in front of holistic.
yeah,
Whole people,
yeah,
we're whole body, mind, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, body, mind, soul. So however you frame it, we're whole beings. And if you're looking over here, you're not looking at the rest of it, what you focus on expands. So when I start looking at it, everything is energy. I come from that perspective. And
yeah,
what I'm about is shifting perspective and giving people teaching them to fish, because I'm not here to tell you what to do, or I'm not there to tell my clients what to do or how to do it. I'm teaching them to empower themselves so they can empower others. And that's where my recent is the Tranquil Solutions Clarity tool is coming in, is exactly what you're talking about. It's
mm.
really for people to empower themselves and get that clarity almost instantly. It's having Karen in your pocket, 24/7. So I'm really excited about
Yeah, I don't think we had tools like that when we were going through it. We
that.
had to kind of do it the hardcore way. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? Go through the depths of hell and come out again kind of way.
But there's something to be said about that, right?
Yes.
It really, there is something to be said about it. So not to discount it, whether you have tools or not, you know,
Yeah.
it's an experience. And for me, I always look at it, what can I learn from this? And how can I grow from this experience? And that's where resiliency came in, and trusting myself, and then it brought in that space of being able to make decisions and creating the clarity for myself. So this is just a tool to sort of feel your way around and see what works for you.
Completely. And look, there is a whole new wave, and I call it a wave
Mhm.
because if you understand a wave gets power from the wave itself.
Exactly.
So there is a collective
Mhm.
who are all creating together in our unique expressions that we're all creating,
Absolutely.
reaching the women you're going to reach, reaching the women I'm going to reach, or the men I reach, or whatever, or the people we reach in the ways that we do it.
Absolutely.
And this new wave of leadership, and it is leadership, it's this wholeness that we're all pointing to because it's been missing for so long. Now, one of my intentions is to really transform business. And if you kind of think about it, and I've spoken to quite a few women who work in tech, nuclear energy, sciences, law, medical sales. So they're very much immersed in that kind of male dominated space,
Okay.
construction. A lot of my clients are executives in constructions, of all things. And they're incredible, but the framework in which they exist was already there before they got there. So there was no place for a woman to express the way that she expresses herself or the way she needs to restore herself or recover or perform. And we find ourselves in business, corporate business, because that's where I came from. That's what, really finished me off, just to be truthful. I was leading a 120-hour work week with menopause. And that was just like the final after working since I was 17. But there, if you can kind of get a light switch, that there's a light switch that goes on, and then there's a light switch that goes off. And you need the off to allow on, and you need on to switch off.
Exactly.
And as women, we haven't got any off button anymore. There's no real off button.
Exactly.
And as part of the journey, and why I love why you're pointing to about this tool that you're creating, is one of the biggest gifts a spiritual friend gave me, and I'm sure, Karen, you do this with people that you work with, is you start to allow them to start to create white space for themselves. And I called up a friend. I was here in Sarasota. I was like, coach me. I don't even want to coach anyone. I don't even like people anymore. I don't even like myself anymore. What am I supposed to do with myself? I mean, it was really bad, the situation I was in. And she was like, Joe, you need to spend time with yourself. You need like space to be, like a time out.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is that? Because I've been used to filling my time up.
Yeah.
Every minute of my moment was scheduled, doing something, from sleeping to eating to working to talking to. There was no space for me or my relationship.
Right.
And I was so afraid to spend that time with myself and my relationship
Uh-huh.
that when she said sit and do nothing, I thought it was going to be like a pencil in my eye. That painful. And it was that painful to sit and start to be with myself and be what was authentically there, to start doing the internal healing that I didn't know I needed.
Yeah. Brilliant friend. Brilliant coach.
She
Yeah.
is a brilliant friend.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that was 4 years ago. And now I create retreats to train women on how to have that space to be for themselves as a way to get reconnected to themselves. And along with your tools and what you're creating, that's an easier way to start supporting women that we can use all our wisdom to make a difference for, because we all need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm curious, obviously our time is short, but tell me a little bit about your company and what's your biggest hope for women in general?
Yeah, I
I know
mean, really, what we're creating.
yeah.
I am standing for a transformation for what it means. If you can get the subtlety of this, what it means to be a woman in business.
Mhm.
And when women can truly, authentically be who they are, then there's a shot that love will get expressed.
Mm, I love that. I love that. That's beautiful.
And that's what Tirtha means. Just so you know, it means where heaven meets earth.
Yeah, I remember you and I talking about
Yeah.
it, hoping we'd have more time to go into. You're just going to have to come back.
There's round two.
How to. I've been known to do it before, so I could
I
do
would
it
love to.
again. Yes, it would be fun. Joe, it's been such a pleasure, and I'm so excited for what you're up to and what you're creating out there in the world. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and journey with us today. And your story is such a powerful reminder that transformation happens as we lean into it, into the awareness, and take those badassy steps, right, to empower ourselves and trust the journey. So thank you so
Oh,
very
Karen, thank you. And I cannot wait to see the impact and difference with your launch, and just cheer you on and support you any way I can. So just have me as an ally, as a friend, as a co-creator,
Thank
and
you.
I've got your back just as much.
Oh, thank you. I might just tag you on that one because it's ready to go and it's, yeah, May.
Awesome.
Oh, we're really excited. But to our listening audiences, remember the bridge from ordinary to extraordinary is built with small steps of change and big leaps of faith. And you are more powerful than you realize. So keep showing up, keep stepping forward, and keep awakening your potential. If today's episodes spark something within you, let's take a deeper dive and look at it and DM me with the word awaken, and you will actually get me responding to you. So um, today, let it be your turn to awaken. Thank you for being here with us. See you next time.